Today we're going to show you how to tie a Texas rig. This is one of the most popular plastic bait setups or rigs you can do. It's pretty simple to tie. You take a plastic bait. Right now I'm going to use, for an example, I'm going to use just a little stick bait here, a worm. And I'm going to use a 3/0 extra wide gap hook. This is an offset hook. So what you need an offset hook is, what it means that is that the eye is a little bit offset from the hook. And the reason why is we're going to put this bait, so it's going to sit right on the eye there, and it's going to basically be a straight line. It's going to sit on there like that. That's going to be the intended goal of the tie, and that is called the Texas rig. There's lots of other additions. We can put weights on it, lots of other things we can do, but just for a demonstration today, that's what I'm going to do. So this is how we do it. Okay, here we go. So what we're going to do is, and again, one thing I haven't talked about, but the size of the worm to the size of the hook is important. You can't have some 10, 12-inch worm or plastic bait with a a 1/0 hook or something small like that. It just doesn't make sense. So you got to make sure you're getting the right baits to the right hook size. So this is a 5 or 6-inch worm, and this is a 3/0 hook. I think it's a perfect pairing. You'll see when we're done here, but let's begin. So what we're going to do, first of all, grab the eye of the hook right there, and we're going to just go right into the top of the bait, maybe just half an inch there. Slip it through, and we're going to slide the plastic bait up the shank. And then here, what I'm going to do is, of course, your line's going to be tied on here, so this will ride up the line a little bit as well. But I'm just going to twist it just ever so slightly when it gets to the top. That way I can bring the bait over here. Now, the purpose of this, again, is to keep this, we want this basically dead straight. We don't want any bends in it. So what we want to do is kind of measure out where the hook is going to come out. So I can see that angle is, that's kind of the way I want it to lay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank this up just a little bit, just to give myself a little bit of leverage. I'm going to pierce it through the middle. I don't know if you can see that very well, but I've just pierced it through the middle, like so. And I didn't pierce it all the way through. We want this to act as a weedless rig, so when it's going through the water, we don't want the edge of the hook coming out and catching on wood or debris or foliage or anything like that. So the hook is just right on the edge there, and that's what you want. So when the fish bites it and attacks it, it's going to be an easy pierce through and an easy hook set on the worm. So you can see there it's dead straight, and again, that's really important. So when this falls in the water, however you're doing it, it's going to fall in a really kind of a much better presentation. So that's basically the Texas rig. Ready to fish. Here's the other variation of that bait. So I just quickly tied on a line to the hook, and I tied my rig here. That's a terrible job. Terrible. Despicable. And what I did is I put on a little bullet weight, and you can slide it down. So depending on if you're throwing into some thick foliage or anything that you just need to get the bait down, you can just put a little a little weight on there. You can see that weight going back and forth there. Depending on how heavy you need to get down into thicker stuff, if it's really thick green, you might want to put a bigger weight on there. This is a small little guy. I don't even know what the weight of that one is, but that's just another way you can do a Texas rig. But that'll also help you with casting into wind, casting just for distance. Yeah, if the water is really choppy and moving, or if there's any sort of current, sometimes your line your bait won't get to the bottom at all. So this will make sure that your bait gets to the bottom. So there's a lot of reasons to have a nice little weight there. So that's a Texas rig with a little bullet weight.